Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have one of the most memorable pair of fights in recent heavyweight history. On one side, you have the lineal champion in Tyson Fury, who defeated Klitschko, dethroning the long reigning champion. On the other, you have new blood, Deontay Wilder, the hardest hitting heavyweight since Mike Tyson. The first fight went to a controversial draw, of which many had Fury winning. But the knockdown in round 12 secured the title back for Deontay Wilder and called for a rematch. In today's Technical Readout, we take a look at that second historical fight and the return to ascendancy of the Gypsy King. To understand how the second fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder transpired, we have to look at round 12 of the first fight. Wilder catches Fury with a big right hand and a short hook. Fury seemed out, splayed out on the ground, but like the Undertaker, Fury gets up to fight on. Wilder then pushes the pace to get the finish. While Tyson Fury is recovering, he makes his adjustment. When Tyson Fury puts his hands behind his back, he then starts to push the pace. In that moment, Tyson Fury has discovered how he could beat Deontay Wilder, and he would. The main idea behind beating Deontay Wilder is staying disciplined. One mistake will ruin your night and quite possibly give you CTE. Fury utilized the jab all night, which is great for countering a fighter who comes over the top more often than not. The average punch of a boxer is a swift 25 miles an hour. Doing some simple math, if you're standing 3 feet away from your opponent, it will take 0.0818 seconds to reach your opponent. On the other hand, let's use simple math and say Wilder's overhand right comes along the line of a perfect circle. Using the radius of the jab, 3 feet, we can multiply by pi, divide it by 2 due to it not being a full circle but a half, and get the distance and speed it traveled. In this example, Wilder's windmill would have traveled 4.71 feet and take 0.1285 seconds, making the jab 57.09% faster. Early in the second fight, Fury would implement his game plan, come forward and use a bunch of feints to confuse Wilder. This works twofold. Deontay Wilder doesn't like punching off of his back foot, instead opting to come forward off a big lunge with his jab. Second, the feints and motions short-circuit the timing of Wilder as well. Tyson Fury also does a good job of keeping Wilder just out of distance with the long guard. Here, Wilder telegraphs his right with a wide step in, and Fury extends his lead hand, simply getting in the way of the shot, which misses as a result. On the offensive side of things, Fury decides to enter with straight punches with Wilder. When he splits the guard, Wilder covers up with his high guard and backs up. This is when Fury unloads the wider punches when he's at a smaller risk of being knocked around. Here, Fury parries the probing jab of Wilder to give him less of a read on the distance to unload on the Gypsy King. Fury, having the long guard up, puts his hands in the striking lane of Wilder, disrupting the punches, making it that much harder to hit him. When Wilder doesn't see an opening, he is more hesitant to fire. Far from perfect, Tyson Fury doesn't always stay on task and becomes idle in the second round. Here, he's standing in front of Deontay Wilder and has a big right fired his way, landing flush. While Fury's performance was masterful, it wasn't perfect by any means. But immediately after realizing that he's been caught, Fury starts walking forward. You can actually see the confusion on Wilder's face trying to figure out what to do when his opponent actually comes forward. Another thing Fury capitalized on well against Deontay Wilder was the poor footwork from the reigning champion. His stance is wide and he leans back often, throwing him off balance. Balance and punching go hand in hand. To get the power that Wilder's used to using, with your feet under you, you can maximize the power which comes from the body, not the arms. Here is another example of the poor balance of Deontay Wilder. Fury throws a basic jab and Wilder leans back. Tyson Fury then doubles up on the jab as he's leaned back and Wilder backs up again. Instead of taking small steps back and keeping his balance, he breaks his balance and is off center, allowing Fury to press forward even more, setting up this beautiful straight right. Tyson Fury knows that Wilder is nowhere near as dangerous with the infighting. He feints the entire fight, but the feint here draws forward progress out of Wilder and immediately Fury clenches up and holds Wilder's head down, which is absolutely exhausting. In the first knockdown, Fury reads the exaggerated step in Wilder relies on and gets a good lead hook in and comes over the top, landing right behind the ear. Wilder's big lunge in not only telegraphs his intentions, but puts him off balance, the common theme of the night. After the knockdown, Fury doesn't let Wilder off the hook. He may not get the knockout or the knockdown, but he will tire Deontay Wilder out even more, which is his real goal. Already exhausted in the third, Wilder is backpedaling. You can see the fundamentals flying out the door as he crosses his feet, another balance issue from the champ. Here, Deontay Wilder throws a lead hook and overextends on the jab. With his back to Fury and his feet in front of him, not underneath him, puts him in another bad spot for a body shot. At the end of the fourth, Fury is crowding Deontay Wilder. Wilder exits to his right and Fury resets his stance with a shift of his front foot, putting him back in line with Wilder. The right comes in and lands on the button of Wilder again, putting him in trouble. Fury does a good job of keeping his feet under him the entire fight and getting the optimal power out of each punch. This is a beautiful setup by Tyson Fury. He keeps his hands moving, crowding the lane for Wilder, and steps in with a feint. Wilder has his lead hand extended and Fury fires the jab and then comes over the top of Wilder's lead hand with a smooth right hook. Wilder's poor footwork finally gets the best of him here. Fury is pushing Wilder back as he covers up. Deontay Wilder didn't keep his feet under him once again. This time, however, Fury steps on the outside of the lead foot and lands a great hook to the body. Wilder trips over Fury's foot and falls down. Here, Wilder comes in with a monster bomb that misses. Wilder doesn't get his footing under him and stumbles backwards once again. Tyson Fury goes to the infighting once again. Knowing Wilder isn't as much of a threat here, Tyson Fury pours on the pot shots, body shots, and leans on Wilder, tiring him out even more than he already is. After 6 rounds, and in the 7th, the pressure, fatigue, and stress of the situation did Deontay Wilder in. Wilder goes to the corner, and Tyson Fury comes right up the pipe with a straight right, and Wilder's corner has seen enough. The towel has been thrown in, the fight is over. Tyson Fury is the new heavyweight champion. After reclaiming the belt, Tyson Fury put Anthony Joshua on notice. After beating Wilder, he and Joshua are destined to box. The two will eventually unify the heavyweight division so fans can see who truly the best heavyweight on the planet will be. Thanks for watching.